Hello and welcome into Rebecca K Crochet. I'm Becky, your yarn host, and today I'm going to show you how to make a scrap blanket using all of your scraps. And this is not put together yet. This is a strip. I'll show you how to do these strips. They are really long. This is strip A, and there's the end of it. This is strip B, which I have not finished out the edges yet because I've been still working on strip A. And I'm going to do this in two parts. And I'm going to show you something that I decided I wasn't going to do. But this is strip B. And then again, this is strip A. And you can do them in any color that you want to. These are just your scrap yarn. They are roughly, I want to say close to, I like to make my blankets almost 6 foot tall. So what I have done is I'm going to move these out of the way. All of these strips. I'm going to show you, I'm going to get started on how to do this. I'll be right back. Okay, what we're going to do is we are going to start with a slip knot. And we're going to chain 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and in the second chain from the hook, this one doesn't count on our hook, there's 1 and there's 2, we are going to go in with a single crochet, a chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1. This is the moss stitch. I do have the moss stitch on my channel if you need to practice the moss stitch, but this is exactly how you do the moss stitch, because that's what we're going to do this blanket out of. You can make a scarf out of this. You can do, you can do your strips as wide as you want to. This is just what I decided to do. You can make them as small, as long, as short as you want to. And however scraps, I just have so many scraps, I decided to make a huge blanket out of them. I've made all kinds of blankets out of scraps, but I thought this one might be interesting to do, to see what it turns out to be like. Right now it's looking like a fall blanket because that's the colors I have, but we're going to chain 1 at the end. We're going to turn our work. We're going to go right back into that same stitch our last stitch we just did. We are going to do a single crochet. We're not going to chain because we have a space here, so then we're going to go down into that space, and from now on we're going to be working in the spaces except for the 2 end stitches. So we single crochet, chain 1, we skip over our next stitch and go down into the space, and we single crochet, chain 1, skip the stitch, and work down into the single crochet. Now the one thing that you want to make sure is that you have 17 stitches across, and you keep 17. So this one you may want to count every row to make sure, or count as you're going. I like to count my single crochets that I'm doing, but this is how it is done. It goes really quickly. This could be considered a mile a minute because it does go very quickly. On the end, you're going to single crochet in the space, and then you're going to single crochet on that in that end stitch, and then you're going to chain 1, you're going to turn, you are going to single crochet in the end stitch, and because we have a stitch here, we're going to chain 1 and work into our chain space. So this is a 2-row repeat. And it's just single crochets and chains. So if you can get the single crochet down and the chain, you're doing good. Now the hook I am using is different than the hook that I have been using most of the time, because I want this to be a floppier, looser stitch, because I crochet tight. I always have, and that's just the way I am. So now we chain one and we work back into our end stitch, chain one, turn, we go back into this stitch right here. Whoops, sorry. We turn, we crochet into our end stitch and into the single crochet and single crochet back into that next stitch, chain one, and we repeat that second row that we did. So if you have a chain space here, you're always single crocheting into your end stitch, and then it just depends on if you have a single crochet here or if you have a chain one space in your next stitch or a single crochet. That's what changes it up. So then whenever you get however many stitches that you want, like this one is, and I'm trying to do these pretty close to the same, but this one is 14 stitches up. Then I did, in between each color that I'm doing, I did 2 rows of black. I will not be able to show the black on the camera because it is too dark to show on camera, but between every row I have 2 rows of black between every color change. This is a striping yarn. I have 2 rows of black, then I change my color, 2 rows of black, change my color, 2 rows of black, change my color. On every one of them that I'm doing, that's how I do it. Now I did, on some of these, I have marked the front and the back. So, let's see, it goes this way. I have marked the front and the back. They are really close to the same. If I run out of color, I just stop and do my 2 rows of black. And then I will add on what I'm supposed to have here to the next row up, because I'm trying to keep the same stitch count. So let me show you what I do there. I have one on one of these strips. Hang on. I can't remember what strip it is. I ran out of color on one of these strips. I think it was this one. One of these strips I ran out of color on is this one. I ran out of color on this one, so I'm a row short on this green one, and so I added 2 rows of black, and then I added it onto this next stitch, which is fine. I've run out, 5 or 6. As long as you keep your row count up, you're good. I will also tell you that it will get wider and narrower in places. The edges are going to be a little bit wonky because of the yarn that you're using. It's all different yarn because it's scraps. So the edges will be kind of off a little bit. There, you can see it. The edges are off just a little bit. And that's okay, because they will straighten out like these do whenever you put your black around your edges. Grab one without knocking everything on the floor. When you put your black around your edges, they will straighten out like this has straightened out. These edges will all straighten out, and then you're going to add you're going to sew them together on the end, and I'll show you how to do that in next week's video. But you want to mark whichever side that you decide is your right side. You want to mark it, and the bottom so that you know that, especially if you're new. If you're new, you may not know that this is upside down versus this. You can see it really well on the yellow. This is upside down, and this is right side up. And you want to be able to know that this is the bottom, this is the top, you know, this is the way that we're working this up. And you'll edge this. Now what I did was I have 281 rows in my deal, and I'll show you that here in just a second. But I am using a cake that I've made. These cakes I've created myself. I'm using from the outside. As you can tell, this is the outside. And I'm also using from the inside, which I think it's this one, is the inside of this. So I'm using from both outside and inside. And I'm making all of my rows at the same time. And that way I don't have two colors that are going together. The same two colors. This is just a sample. This is scrap yarn. Everything I'm doing is out of scrap yarn. Most of my yarn is I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby. Now the hook I am using is a Susan Bates, and this is a, I can't even read that. This is a K 10.5 6.5 millimeter hook. I did go up from my normal 6 millimeter, which is right here, because I wanted it to be a little bit looser. It's not a loose stitch by any means. It's just, it just will drape nicely whenever I'm done. And the other thing I want to show you is this. You may want to take a picture of it, a snapshot of this. This is my rows. So the first color that I'm doing right here is 14 rows. The second one is 21. So the first one, this is 14 rows. The second one is 21 rows. This is 8 rows. 14. This was supposed to be 14 rows. This is the one I ran out on. This was supposed to be 14 rows, and the next one, which is the one I'm working on, since I ran out, no, this one's 8. This is 8, this is 8, and this one's going to be 14 rows. The one I ran out on is a little bit longer. Yeah, this is the one I ran out on because it's longer. I had to do my next one up. So 14 rows, 21 rows, 8 rows. This one was supposed to be 8 rows, but it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. So in this one, I did 15 rows up. And then in this one, I did, this is 12 rows right here. And that's how I do it. So you may want to take a snapshot of this to know. And in between each row, it says strip A with 2 rows of black in between. And there is a strip B, which is this one. And this is the other thing I want to show you guys. I know this is all over the place, but this is strip B. And I started with a different amount here so that my black stripes, I don't know if you saw that or not in the first one, my black stripes will not line up. I wanted it staggered. If you want to just make a blanket with strip A and not have your colors staggered, you can do that. But I wanted my colors staggered, and so my colors line up like that. It's hard to show because they're not, but my colors will all be staggered. They're not going to line up the same. These two will not be together, neither will those two. So anyway, they're going to be offset like bricks is what I was going for. And so I have a strip B, and I will show you that next week. But the other thing I want to show you is, see how this one has the clean edges? This is a tip. This one has clean edges. So what I've been doing is, this is the one I want to show you on. This one, I left my ends, and we'll just go back and work over them, or I will weave them in. But whenever I come back and put my black on, I will work over them. I do not like that. I've decided there's too many ends all at once. So with these, I have been weaving my ends back in, and that's what I wanted to show you on here. So while I'm talking to you about this, I'm going to crochet a little bit more. But the thing that you want to do with your ends is you want to weave them in as you go under here, and you want to pick up your end. I don't know if you can see it. I hide them really well, so okay, this is where I started. So you can't tell where I've woven my ends in. And I want to show you how to do that, because that is a trick in itself. So what I can do is I'll just start another color and show you, and I'll just take it out. We're going to pretend that this is my next, like this is the black. And this is the end of my row. So I'm going to start on, this is how you start another color also. You always have a slip knot, start with a slip knot and start with a standing double crochet in that end stitch. I got to get that loop out of the way. You won't have a loop. You will start with just a tail. Okay, now this one we're going to chain, and we're going to skip over and work into that space. And we're going to work over our tails like so. And I'm going to show you something here in just a second. Skip over. Let's say we're at the end. We're going to chain one, we're going to turn, we're going to pull these tails, and see how you can see those tails? You can see them right here. What you do is you go back, you chain one, you go back into this one, then you're going to go down and you're going to go up and make sure that you go underneath those tails. Chain one, you go underneath those tails, and you're going to zigzag those, and then you will go underneath those tails, making sure to catch those tails underneath your stitches. And then whenever you pull your tails tight, gotta make sure I don't pull my deal out, but when you pull your tails tight, you cannot see that that is where your tail is. See how it disappeared? And so nobody will know that those tails are woven in, and it weaves in your tails a little bit better. So that's how I've been doing it, and then I just snip my tails off over here. That's a trick that you guys may want to do from here on out. I don't know. But that's how I weave in ends that can be seen. And your black end and your color end, like here on the black and white, you can kind of see my tail right here. My tail's right there, but you can't tell that I wove it in. You can't tell that it's actually woven in right there, so you don't have just a straight line of tails like you did before. And that's why I do that. So I hope that you will enjoy doing this blanket. Part 2 will come next Friday. Probably won't be as scattered, and I will tell you what rows to do on part 2 for next week, and hopefully I'll have the finished product by then, so I can show you what it looks like. Been working pretty hard, but I have a kitty who is decided that he likes yarn. My goodness, every time I sit down, he's at the yarn. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to get off of here, and y'all have a great day, and like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.